Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Sunday. Hope everybody is having a nice weekend. We're just getting everything set up here to do our first alert update for the weekend. We are breaking down some of your Sunday stories. We just had our afternoon meeting. We have sent our teams out, and we're going to deliver this information to you. The first thing that we want to talk about is what our reporters are working on right now. And we have our reporter, Yasmina Alston. She is headed to the scene. Now, we don't have video of this, but I did still want to tell you about it because those are the elements that she and her photographer are working to gather right now. There is a homicide investigation underway in Gwinnett County. This is after a man was fatally shot at a Shell gas station on PIB and Jimmy Carter Boulevard. That is according to Gwinnett County Police. So she and her photographer are at the scene right now. They are working on gathering more information on that. So far, they tell us this is an active investigation. Still no word on what led up to the shooting or the identity of the person shot. Again, we are going to have more on that for you this evening. Our newscasts tonight will be at 6:30 and 11 on CBS, as well as 9 and 10 on Peachtree TV. You can catch us streaming, you can catch us on the website, or of course you can catch us on TV as well. And we want to make sure we deliver all of this information to you. The next story we want to tell you about, this is what our reporter Asia Wilson will be working on. So I'm going to pull up right here, atlantanewsfirst.com, and this is where you can find a lot more on all of the different stories that we are talking about. So I'm just scrolling through this right now, so you can find more information here. We update this continually throughout the day. You may also receive push alerts that direct you back to our website, and we just want to make sure, again, that you're informed. You can watch us live here as well. I'm putting my cursor over here on the watch live button. So if you are out and about this weekend, if you are away from your television, you can still catch us live. But working on this story right now, again, reporter Asia Wilson, she is headed to this scene. The body of a 38-year-old Temple man was recovered this morning after he went missing on the Coosa River. That's in Floyd County. It happened Friday afternoon. This is according to the Department of Natural Resources. Officials say at around 9:15 a.m. this morning, the victim identified now as 38-year-old John Wesley Perkins was located with the sector scan sonar. The body was recovered around 10 a.m. The man had been fishing with two other individuals, we are told. When their bass boat began to take on water, all three attempted to swim to the bank. Only two were successful at getting out of the river. So this happened near the Old River Road boat ramp. Officials say they were assisted by the GSP dive team in the search. So that search beginning Friday afternoon when this man went missing and concluded this morning, unfortunately, with not the outcome that they wanted. This man has passed. It was the body of 38-year-old. And this was 38-year-old John Wesley Perkins. That was his name. And again, we have reporter Asia Wilson headed out to the scene to try to see if she can find out more about what exactly happened here. But a very sad situation. And this has now been almost 3 days worth of searching that has unfortunately concluded with a difficult outcome. We are taking you back out here live to move on to our next story. This was an officer-involved shooting that happened this morning. An Atlanta police officer shooting a man after they say he shot at officers. This was at the Atlanta Greyhound station, and reporter Bridget Spencer was on the scene this morning, and here is what she had to say. Here is her reporting.
An early morning incident involving an unruly and unticketed person inside of this Greyhound station ultimately leads to an officer-involved shooting. At about 4:40 in the morning, Atlanta police say they were alerted by Greyhound security about a man making a scene inside of the terminal.
The individual was not a ticket passenger. He was, again, creating a disturbance where security then escorted him outside.
When he still wouldn't leave the property, Atlanta police officers arrived and things escalated from there.
The suspect, who now we determined to be a 30-year-old male, produced a handgun and fired at both officers.
One officer shot back, hitting the suspect. He was taken to Grady Hospital and is expected to survive. Police, thankful nobody was killed.
The officers are fine, no injuries to them. And it's only by the grace of God that we didn't have a different outcome.
The shooting left other passengers uneasy, but not surprised.
Honestly, you know what? No, I was not.
Jason Biddle was making a stop on his way to Florida. He noticed the crime scene tape lining the area as soon as he got off his bus.
There's just too many personalities in this world. They don't all mix up.
APD requested the GBI to investigate further. This is at least the 32nd shooting involving police that GBI agents have been called to this year. We're told the 2 officers will be on paid administrative leave, which is protocol in this situation. In Atlanta, Bridget Spencer, Atlanta News First.
So again, that was the latest situation that happened this morning. We are going to have more on that this evening. Reporter Bridget Spencer investigating that for us. Something else that's happening this evening, we're going to take you to some video here. This is actually from last year's event. I know I've told you about a lot of heavy stories that are taking place today, and of course news is that balance of telling you things that you may want to hear about, but also telling you those things that you need to hear about. I know these aren't always the stories that we want to have to share, but we do want to let you know what's going on in your communities, what's going on in your backyard. We want to keep you and your family safe. But this is a memorial that is taking place this evening. Decatur First Baptist Church is holding its 33rd annual Homicide Memorial Service. They honor victims from all across Metro Atlanta, and they have a wall to remember these victims. These are pictures, as I said, of walls past. So we are going to be attending that this evening, that memorial this evening. Certainly, I'm sure a lot of emotions there, but we certainly want to honor these victims, honor their lives and their memories for their loved ones. So before we turn things over to the weather, just want to give you a quick recap of the stories that we are working on today. So we have a reporter headed to the scene of a homicide in Gwinnett County. This happened at a gas station. Still no word on the victim involved or the circumstances that led up to that shooting. And then we are also working on a drowning that happened on the Coosa River. That's in Floyd County. That happened Friday, and the man's body was recovered this morning. The victim has now been identified as 38-year-old John Wesley Perkins. His body recovered around 10 this morning. Certainly, we are heading into the summer months here. A lot of people out on the water, a lot of people enjoying their time fishing or swimming. And this is the time that we need to be certainly very vigilant when it comes to water safety and water preparedness. Next, Bridget Spencer reporting on the Greyhound shooting that took place this morning. Atlanta police officers shooting a man that they say was behaving, he was disrupting, he was unruly, and that he fired upon officers returning fire. That man is now in the hospital. Still no word on his condition. And a memorial is taking place this evening to honor the victims of homicides across Metro Atlanta. Again, I know we're telling you about a lot of heavy news, but at least this memorial is trying to do some justice in the sense of honoring their names, honoring their legacies and their memories for their family. So I want to turn things now. Look at this beautiful view. This is what we like to see on our weekend. And to tell us more about what we can expect not only for the rest of our weekend, but also for the week ahead, we have First Alert meteorologist Cutter Martin here. All right, Cutter, I know we have the rain moving in, but for right now, can we just look at this beautiful view?
Yeah, I know. It is absolutely sunny out there. Even some subtle changes, though. Today, we had nothing but sunshine on this particular sky cam. We're actually at the top end of the perimeter, and we are looking back to the south. What you see in the foreground, that's Buckhead, the Buckhead skyline. What you see in the distance there, and it all looks like one in this image, but actually separated by several miles further to the south. That is Midtown. You can see the Pencil Building pretty well, and then just beyond that, a little harder to see, that's the Truist building there in the background, and it is downtown Atlanta. So we have a great view, and showing you this just to tell you that we actually do have some high clouds moving in. You can see those there in the distance, so just keep that in mind. The clouds that are moving in this afternoon, they're not really rain producers, but they are signaling the chance of maybe a sprinkle or two overnight tonight, and signaling that we do also kind of just have a generally active weather pattern impacting much of the south and southeast here for the next several days. The first is just clouds, as we were just talking about here, but we do have a more substantial storm system and a first alert in the forecast as we get into the middle of the week Wednesday, and then maybe another break early Thursday, then another system Thursday later into early Friday, and then maybe another break, and then maybe another system, a third, impacting the area as we get into our Sunday. So certainly something that we're going to be watching here for the next several days, kind of a transition from what is a really nice kind of string of dry and mostly sunny and cooler days to something that is a little bit more active, where every other day or so we actually do have a chance of rain in the forecast. Again, we're taking a live look at conditions right now. Going to open up the weather computer, and we'll walk through this forecast, give you the weather headline, kind of tell that story here for you in just a few minutes as we open up the weather computer here again, starting with a live look outside from the top end of the perimeter. Now another live kind of story or moment for you, but this in the sense of a forecast. And do notice that temperatures do vary across the region, where we do have some decent conditions out there, but we're also noticing a trend in temperature that is cooler north and west and warmer south and east. Notice we're 60 in Blairsville, 66 in Rome, 63 Canton, kind of cool, 69 in Atlanta, 66 in Carrollton, 72 though in LaGrange, 71 in Locust Grove. That range in temperature due in part to the fact that we do have clouds moving in from the north and west, and it was cloudier earlier off to the north and west. Because those clouds moved in a little earlier in the day, we do have cooler temperatures across northwest Georgia and areas kind of north of the city of Atlanta proper. So again, we're showing you a weather graphic here. This is a look at satellite and radar. We're going to change the view here for you and change what you're seeing on your screen to kind of better tell the story. Again, bear with me here as we pan the map over towards the state of Georgia. Do notice where clouds are a little bit more persistent, and that is there across North Georgia, a little harder to see. But as I put a pause on this, the actual line of cloud cover extends further south than the brightest whites from near Birmingham to now into Atlanta, kind of up the 85 corridor into Greenville, South Carolina. This kind of hash line that I'm drawing is where clouds are a little bit more persistent, and without as much sunshine, that's why it's a little bit cooler across the northwest side. So we're already starting to see some of those changes. Initially just clouds, so we do have a chance of a couple sprinkles overnight tonight. I think that this particular forecast model might be overdoing the chance of moisture, the chance of rain just a little bit, but nonetheless telling the idea, again, doing very well with what's actually happening out there, and that's that clouds are about to I-85 right now, and they will expand further to the south and southeast as we go through the evening. Overnight tonight with more clouds in the forecast, temperatures not quite as chilly. Do notice we do have a little bit green on the map by, midnight, 1-2 a.m. I think a lot of this not hitting the ground because the air is so dry. So a lot of this is falling out of the clouds, and it is literally, falling from the cloud layer down to the surface, but evaporating on its trip southward, or on its trip, downward. And that's why we're expecting, yes, clouds, but not much in the way of actual rain overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. So again, hour by hour, we could see a few sprinkles indicated by the green, but I think by and large it is a mostly dry start to our Monday, but also a cloudier start, much cloudier than it was this morning with a few sprinkles around in the morning. Temperatures in the 50s and 60s by noon, so kind of a cooler day tomorrow. I think fewer of us hitting 70, though we will be clearing out during the middle to latter portion of the afternoon. And if we clear out in time, more thermometers may hit 70. I think it's going to be a little bit harder to hit the big 7-0 tomorrow afternoon with more clouds around. Though we do clear out by tomorrow evening, and then more clouds around, but a little bit more broken as we get into Tuesday morning. So kind of a mix of sun and high-level clouds as we go into Tuesday afternoon. More clouds around, but more sunshine too, and I think we probably will hit 70, maybe warmer than that, especially south of I-20 Tuesday afternoon. So Tuesday could actually be a little bit milder than our Monday because we have a little bit less in the way of cloud cover around. Now, it won't last all that long as far as the sunshine is concerned. We will have a greater chance of rain in the forecast as we get into our Wednesday, and that will linger off into the latter portion of next work week, at least in periodic fashion. So first alert Wednesday, rain more widespread. I do think later Thursday into Friday, there's another more substantial chance of rain. And then later Saturday into Sunday, we might have another round of more substantial rain that could bring a greater chance of plans being impacted. But again, it's not a guarantee, just something we're going to be casually watching for you. And we'll be updating you on as we get deeper into the work week. So just wanted to give you that really first kind of peripheral look at the forecast. But we will be getting some new data in as we go deeper into the afternoon. In fact, one of the data cycles that we pay attention to as forecasters and meteorologists is just now completing. So I'm going to go back to the Weather Center and get a look at that. And we'll be fine-tuning the forecast. May see some subtle adjustments. We're forecasting, a general transition to clouds and occasional rain. We know that, but now it's about fine-tuning the timing of the greatest coverage of rain, and that may alter just a little bit as we get some of these newer data cycles in, and probably we will have a much better idea about specific timing of the rain as we get into Tuesday. Of course, first more substantial round of rain is forecast to arrive Wednesday. We're pretty certain in that, but also a little bit more uncertain in when that second and third round of the uptick in rain chances arrive. So we're going to be fine-tuning that forecast, keeping you updated, and we'll bring you those updates right here on the Atlanta News First Desk. Roku, Amazon Fire, and the News app, and in the Weather app. But a reminder that we will be on live tonight. We are scheduled to have a 6:30 newscast, though we do have golf on. Could run just a little bit late. Hopefully, we don't see that newscast preempted, but it is possible. But a reminder, you can always get a look at the forecast. And the News app, Weather app, Roku device, Amazon Fire, AtlantaNewsFirst.com, and we will regardless see you tonight at 9 p.m. Atlanta News First on Peachtree TV. 10 o'clock hour as well, 11 o'clock half hour. For now, though, going to leave with a live look outside, top of the perimeter, looking back to the south. Those high wispy clouds moving in, kind of dimming the sunshine just a bit. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you a little bit later this evening on Atlanta News First.